Hi, I'm Matthew Chrisman. I teach philosophy at the University of Edinburgh. I've been working on a project with the Young Academy of Scotland on responsible public debate. The goal of our project has been to figure out the sorts of norms or principles that can help us to understand why some debate goes well and some doesn't go so well. Recently, I sat down with some experts on public political debate and talked to them about adversarial versus collaborative debate, citizens' assemblies, deliberative democracy, and the sorts of norms and behavior that helps debate go well. What follows is the insights from our conversations.
My name's Dr Jon Hesk, and I'm in the School of Classics at the University of St Andrews, and I work on ancient Greek rhetoric, ancient Greek democracy, particularly classical Athenian democracy, and its wider culture, so Greek tragedy, comedy. I also look at ancient epic as well.
I'm Ben Sachs-Cobbe. I'm a senior lecturer in philosophy at the University of St Andrews. I do ethics and political philosophy and philosophy of law.
So one thing I feel like I'm hearing from you is that part of the lessons we could learn from the way democracy was conducted in ancient Greece, one of the lessons we could learn for today is that it requires a kind of cultivation of certain kind of character traits or virtues in engaging with each other in debate. And it's not just doing it once, it's doing it kind of continually and making it kind of a practice. Do you think there's other lessons we could learn from the way things were done in ancient Greece for our kind of contemporary political moment?
I think from Athens we can learn that you have to sort of build collaborative, deliberative work into your education systems, into perhaps the way that you run your clubs and your societies, your school boards, your PTA, your parent-teacher association meetings. All of these things need to become more collaborative and problem-solving focused in order to build capacity and build that sort of that understanding of the importance of collaboration, I think.
One of the things I'm really interested in is the contrast between voting, conceived of as a sort of expression of your private preference, whereby you might pick a representative to try to enact those preferences, and debating, conceived of as something that we do as part of collective deliberation for trying to decide what to do.
I like the idea of deliberative democracy, at least to a certain extent. I think the general idea is that democracy is about more than majority voting. Although there's certainly a virtue to doing what more people want rather than what fewer people want. But democracy should be about more than that, shouldn't it? It should be about every person being treated like a rational, autonomous adult who has something to contribute to the debate over what direction we as a society should take. The ambition is to have a situation in which whatever decision we take as a society about how to resolve a certain issue, we take that decision only after having heard from everybody in some way, shape, or form, or everybody who wanted to be heard. I think that this can happen informally, and in a properly set up society will happen informally. It'll happen through civic society, informal associations, family discussions at the dinner table. It'll happen through the media and popular participation in media, especially social media, now that everybody has their own platform. So I think deliberative democracy at least can be spontaneous. And my hope is that kind of spontaneous platform gives us something that's good enough to do what citizens' assemblies were supposed to do without the pitfalls of citizens' assemblies.
Yeah.
I think consensus is probably a bit too ambitious in a diverse society. What we should be hoping for, that our democratic structures provide isn't so much a way of making decisions that leaves everybody happy, but a way of making decisions that, whether you're happy with it or not, we can justify moving forward with it, even if you're not happy.
So yes, there were contentious debates. Yes, there may have been some manipulation, and they didn't always make the right decisions. But there's a sense in which they weren't just, as it were, passively listening to two sides to a debate. There might have been 4 or 5 different points of view that they had to sort of choose between, and more points of view would have come in, amendments and so on. So it was a complex process. It wasn't just about 2 points of view, as it were, being decided upon.
I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about just the concept of a citizens' assembly and how that relates to what people call deliberative democracy.
Citizens' assemblies are situations in which a decision is made to draft in a group of citizens, a representative group of citizens, and give them the task of having a series of meetings where they discuss, debate, and come up with recommendations on a specific topic that's given to them.
With the Athenian version of a citizens' assembly, if you've got 6,000 people, they can't all debate with each other at once. So from what we can tell, you have a small number of people advising, making speeches, putting different points of view, proposing amendments. But some of those would be ordinary citizens, some of those would be more elite, educated citizens. And then everybody sort of reflects and listens to the argument. And they get extremely used to doing that on a regular basis. So in that context, they're voting as a form of deliberation in a way, because they're constantly doing it and expressing their preferences. They're not just voting once every 5 years like we do in a representative democracy.
My ideal political debate, the setup doesn't matter so much as the intentions and outlook of the participants. That to me is the important thing. Any political debate where people come to it aiming to be sincere and open-minded, I think, is a debate that's likely to be helpful for us getting along in society. So I mentioned sincerity because we need people to come to the table telling us what they really believe, because if we don't know what people really believe, we won't know how to find a resolution that is likely to be acceptable to at least a great majority of the people. And we might miss out on a perspective or an insight that we didn't know about. We might miss out on a solution that would not have crossed our mind. So it's really important that people come to the table and say what they really mean. If we come to the table and we tell each other how we feel in all sincerity, and after engaging with each other for some length of time, we come away and nobody feels or believes any differently than they did when they came to the table, we haven't really accomplished much. There has to be some room for give, whether that give is just accepting a fact that you didn't know was true before, or if it's something more substantive, like coming to believe that your position on the issue that you came with actually wasn't the right one. There's no real hope of progress without open-mindedness.